Welcome back to the Purple Party, known as Purple Nerd Channel, a place for all those who geek out on all things Prince related. Hammer, formerly known as MC Hammer and born Stanley Burrell, is a rapper from Oakland, California. Hammer was a bat boy for the baseball team, the Oakland A's, from age 11 to age 18. In his late teens, he started rapping with a Christian group called the Holy Ghost Boys, and that kind of led to him wanting to do his own solo record. Being that he had a good relationship with the members of the Oakland A's baseball team, he went to them to go raise some money to start his own record label as well as record his own first solo album. He was actually able to raise $40,000 and he went and started his own label like he wanted to, called Busted Records, and recorded his first album, Feel My Power, which was released August 13th, 1986. And sold 60,000 copies independently, primarily out of the trunk of Hammer's car. These large number of album sales independently is actually what got the attention of all the majors, and there was actually a bidding war to get Hammer, the winner being Capitol Records, who signed him to his first album deal. And on September 28th, 1988, Hammer would release his first album on Capitol Records called Let's Get It Started. The project was very successful, selling over 2 million copies on its initial release. He would follow this up with Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em on February 12th, 1990. This project would be his biggest release ever, selling over 10 million copies on its initial release, and featured 3 songs with Prince samples. Work This, which sampled Let's Work, Soft and Wet,
That's how we like 'em.
which sampled Soft and Wet, and Pray, which sampled When Doves Cry. Hammer had met Prince at an award show, and I couldn't confirm which award show it was. It was either the American Music Awards or the MTV Music Awards, because both artists were at both of those that same year. But at this meeting, Prince told Hammer that he really liked the message behind the song Pray, and offered Hammer an open invitation to Paisley Park. A short time later, Hammer had gotten the word that over the last couple years that Prince had donated several thousands of dollars into his hometown of Oakland, which I don't think it was really that hard on Hammer's part to figure that out, as you couldn't call it coincidence anymore that every time that Prince would come to Oakland and do a show, that all the schools would automatically have new books, new musical instruments, the shelves on the food pantry will be fully stocked, and the children's hospital will have a complete remodel of most of the rooms. But Hammer also got word that Prince was having some issues with his record company and may have to go to battle with them. So to show support for his upcoming battle with the record company and to say thank you for all you've done for my hometown of Oakland, Hammer went to Paisley Park Studios and rented out one of their studios for 2 months. And instead of paying the regular hourly studio fee, he made a huge donation to Paisley Park Records.
Ends up in Paisley Park with one of the greatest ever. Rest in peace, Prince.
Yes, sir.
What were those 2 weeks like hanging out in
2
Paisley
months.
Park? 2 months.
I showed up at Paisley Park. When I walked in there, I was like, I'm looking for a studio. Y'all got any studios I can rent here? I put a check on the table with a whole bunch of zeros on it and say, I need to be here for a while.
Hammer had started working on his follow-up album to Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em at a couple different studios in California, but none of the songs were 100% finished. Hammer was a huge fan of James Brown and really wanted to be a showman just like him. And he planned on for his next album, when he went to tour, to do a James Brown-like show where he'd have a large, huge live band and several different dancers. This decision led him to go ahead and record this album with a live band full of session players instead of using the typical sampling techniques that he did on his previous albums. These recording sessions were led by his producer, singer-songwriter Felton Pilati, one of the founding members of the R&B funk group Confunction. At Paisley Park Studios, Hammer would go ahead and finish the couple songs he started in California, but then he also recorded 12 new songs as well. And while he was there, he recorded 2 music videos at the Paisley Park soundstage. Hammer said the whole time that they were recording that Prince kept interrupting them by popping up in the window and asking, "Hey man, do you need anything?"
Okay, Hammer, I was just making sure everything is okay.
And I really think that Prince was enjoying watching a rapper perform with a live band, as he had done similar things like that before, and it was kind of cool to see somebody else, especially a big mainstream rapper, doing a live band instead of just, sampling and doing a drum kit. And I also think because, there's an artist recording at Paisley Park Studios, I think Prince is hearing the music and wants to go in there and play along because that's kind of how he is. And I wouldn't be surprised if Prince did something uncredited on this album, because I'm pretty sure if he told Hammer, "Hey man, you might have to come on there and play bass a little bit," that Hammer wouldn't say no. Too Legit to Quit was released October 29th, 1991, peaking at number 2 on Billboard's Top 200 and number 3 on the R&B charts, selling over 3 million copies worldwide. 4 singles were released. Too Legit to Quit, which peaked at number 5 on the top 100 singles, number 3 on the R&B charts, and sold over 1 million copies as a single. Adam's Groove, which was also on the Addams Family soundtrack, peaked at number 7 on the top 100 singles charts, and number 4 in the UK, selling over 500,000 copies as a single. Do Not Pass Me By, which peaked at number 62 on Billboard's top single charts, and number 15 on the R&B charts, as well as number 14 in the UK. And This Is the Way We Roll, which peaked at number 86 on the top 100 singles charts, and number 20 on the R&B charts. 2 music videos were released, Too Legit to Quit.
Yeah, I'm going for all that I can get. Kicking it at the top because I'm too legit to quit saying.
And Adam's Groove.
They wanna say live how they wanna live, play how they wanna play, dance how they wanna dance, thinking they stop a friend.
Both of which were filmed at Paisley Park Studios. The album was released with 17 tracks on the cassette and the double LP, but the CD only had 13 songs. Musically, the album blends dance, funk, and hip hop, and you can definitely feel the energy of a live band being present during the recording. Hammer is pretty consistent with his rhyming ability compared to his previous albums, but he does switch up his flow and his cadence, and his delivery is a little bit different too. The overall message of the album is that of unity, peace, and having fun, with a spiritual understanding of life and death. With Prince inviting Hammer to record at Paisley Park Studios and his approval of sampling his song When Doves Cry to make the song Pray, as well as the other songs on the album, really shows early on Prince's appreciation of hip hop. This is one of the many events that disproves a rumor that Prince hated rap music. And a lot of this is based on his comments he made about the genre over the years, and I have to say that pretty much all of them were taken out of context. So let's go ahead and break a few of them down. The first one is sampling, and Prince had made a comment in an interview that he didn't understand why somebody would sample an artist. How come you wouldn't just go and call up that artist and have them come play with you? Now, when he made this comment, he was promoting the album New Power Soul, and he's sitting on the couch with Larry Graham and Shaka Khan, and he uses them as an example. Like, if I want to do a song with Larry, I'm just going to call up Larry and have Larry show up. If I want to do a song with Shaka Khan, I'm not going to sample her vocals. I'm just going to call her over and we're going to record a song. And keep in mind, this is also after he just did a show where Stevie Wonder showed up and did a couple songs with him. And he was not only promoting New Power Soul, but he was also promoting 2 projects by Larry Graham and Shaka Khan at the same time. So this was kind of like a fun promotional way to say, hey, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. He also made a comment about, I know all these rappers are going through George's stuff, and I'm not going to let that happen. And when he says George's stuff, he's talking about George Clinton. But if you let the interview go on, he says basically that the songs that he gets, to approve his songs being sampled, the songs have a lot of negative talk about women and they promote gun violence. So he's like, I don't want my music used that way. So he wasn't against rappers using his music to rap on. He was against rappers using his music to rap on, but what they were talking about was subject matter that he did not approve of. Because Hammer wasn't the last person to use his music for sampling, as Prince actually approved several different other rap artists to use his music for sampling. Those being Tupac, Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj, and Kanye West. They all sampled Prince's music with his approval. Also, and for some of you, this might just blow your mind, Prince sampled music too. Matter of fact, the one big one that I can think of is the song Release It from the Graffiti Bridge soundtrack. You know how that whole drum loop that like dominates the song and is awesome? Yeah, that's a sample. That is from Tower of Power's Squib Cake song. He also used samples on the song Seven and Arrogance, and he would even sample his own music in his own songs. The other alleged comment that he made against rap music was that it wasn't real music because they weren't using live instruments, it was all computer programming. Now then, the comment that was made was during musicology, and the whole thing of musicology was promote live instruments and live performances. And the comment about people being computer programmers and not playing instruments was actually aimed at pop music, as all the mainstream pop acts had programmed music as their music, and nobody was really playing live instruments at the time. So that was a promotional tool for his album Musicology, which was all about live instruments, live performances. But his comment about people not playing instruments was not at rappers or hip hop. It was actually at the pop mainstream music scene at the time. Because in case you didn't know, producers like DJ Quick, Ant Banks, and Dr. Dre had all been using session players to play live instruments instead of actually sampling off a record. They would just have this group of musicians replay the song, and then they could manipulate it however they wanted to by using live instruments. And they have been doing that since the late 80s. Then you have groups like Outkast and their producers they used early on in their career, Organized Noise. They used live instruments and drum programming. Was also used by Kanye West and Just Blaze as well. And a lot of these rappers, they would actually play on their own albums but not get credit. A good example of that is on the Ghetto Boys song, My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. Scarface, one of the members, is actually playing the bass line on the song. And before I move on, let's not forget about The Roots, an entire live band that is hip hop in every sense of the way. And the most common one I hear is that Prince did not like rap at all in every general form of its performance. And most refer to the song Dead on It from the Black Album, which I must remind you, Prince never wanted the Black Album to come out. But then again, you know, he comments about rappers being tone deaf in the song. But you have to remember this was recorded in, you know, late 86, early 1987. And rappers during that genre were still screaming all their lyrics out, and a couple of them like Houdini would go and try to sing their own hooks. But even if you take that song as it is, it's really a hip hop record. It's a battle record. He's calling out corny mainstream rappers, and he's using one of their, you know, standard boom bap beats and saying, you guys can't rap, while he's rapping. That is hip hop in its essence right there. It is a battle record. When you take somebody's beat and you tell them that they're corny, dude, that's hip hop. Plus, Prince has been adding hip hop elements in rapping verses since like 1982. And if he wasn't doing it, he had other people doing it, like Sheila E's rapping on Beautiful Night. Not to mention that Sheila E was in the hip hop classic film Crush Groove and was on the soundtrack with the song Holly Rock, which was written and produced by Prince.
Rock, rock, Holly rock. Everybody wanna Holly rock. Rock.
And after the Black Album, Prince would incorporate hip hop in every single album after that, starting with Love Sexy, where he's got cat rapping on the album. And early on, he did release 2 rap albums on Paisley Park Records, with T.C. Ellis's True Confessions and Carmen Electra's self-titled album. There were 2 other rap albums that were planned to be released on Paisley Park, but those 2 were canceled, that being Cat's solo album and Robin Power and the Uptown Dames album as well. Then you have New Power Generation rapper Tony M all over Diamonds and Pearls rapping, as well as the follow-up album, the Love Symbol album. And Tony M just shines on the MPG's debut album. Then later on, Prince would bring on another rapper to the MPG, that being Scrap D. You can find him on Chaos and Disorder and on Emancipation. And Prince also rapped quite a bit on his albums as well. But he also worked with rappers outside of the Paisley Park / MPG record world as well, like Chuck D, Lizzo, Dougie Fresh, Common, Q-Tip, and Kendrick Lamar. Thank you for joining me on the channel. Please like and share this video as much as possible. And as always, please subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to sign up on Patreon so you can get exclusive content. I will see you on the next episode, which should finally be Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe Edition. It's going to take me a minute to really, enjoy all the content on there, but as soon as I'm ready, I'm going ahead and get the video put together, and I will see you on the next episode. And until the next episode, I wish you heaven.